Have you ever glanced at yourself in the mirror, maybe while adjusting your hair, putting on earrings, or just getting ready for the day, and thought, something's off. I don't feel like me. I've had that moment too. And let me tell you, it's not about trying to chase youth or rewind time. It's about wanting our reflection to feel aligned with how vibrant, wise, and alive we still feel inside. See, by the time we reach our 60s, our hair has lived a whole life with us. Its weathered color changes, texture shifts, hormonal roller coasters, and sometimes it just stops behaving the way it used to. A little flatter, a little thinner, and suddenly it's not just hair. It's a quiet frustration that sneaks into how we carry ourselves. But here's what most people don't realize. The right haircut doesn't just sit on your head. It can lift your face, brighten your features, bring a spark back to your eyes, and sometimes it even makes people pause and ask, "Did you do something different?" And you'll smile, knowing it was just a subtle shift in shape. So if you're a woman over 50, 60, 70, or beyond, and you're ready to feel more like yourself again, this video is for you. Whether you've worn a bob for years or you're just beginning to consider one, this isn't about rules, it's about possibilities. Haircuts that don't fight with who you are. They lift you, quietly, powerfully. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's walk through 3 timeless bob haircuts that don't just take years off your look. They help you see you again. Ready? Let's begin. Let's start with the one cut I recommend most often when a client sits down and says, "I want something fresh, but not drastic." The soft angled bob is what I call a quiet game changer. It doesn't shout for attention, but it does something beautiful the moment you see it in the mirror. It subtly lifts, softens, and redefines your entire face without looking like you're trying. Picture this, slightly shorter in the back, gently sloping longer toward the jawline. No sharp lines, no stacked layers, just that smooth, graceful angle that draws the eye upward. And when your features have begun to soften a bit, like most of ours do, that lift can feel like magic. There's something about this cut that creates space around the jaw and brings a sense of lightness to the face. It even elongates the neck slightly. I've had clients look at themselves and say, "Where did my cheekbones come from?" And honestly, I just smile because I know exactly what they're seeing. What's lovely is how this bob adapts to you. For rounder faces, it adds structure. For sharper features, it softens. It plays beautifully with glasses, framing without competing. And that movement is the kind of bounce that makes your hair feel alive again. One side tucked behind the ear, a soft wave through the front. It moves with you, never stiff, never heavy. Here's a little trick. Ask your stylist to keep the back close to the nape, let it curve forward naturally, and add just the touch of layering at the ends to keep it light. Nothing choppy, just enough to help it flow. A few soft highlights around the face. Even better, they'll catch the light and subtly brighten your skin. And here's the best part, that moment when you glance in the mirror and think, "There I am." Not a new version of you, just the clearest one. The soft angled bob doesn't need to perform. It simply helps you feel seen, lifted, present, and quietly stunning. But if you're feeling ready for something a little bolder, wait until you see what's next. Now, if you're in the mood for something a little bolder, something that whispers chic, but still feels completely wearable, let me introduce you to the ear-length bob with soft highlights. I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that a bit short? A bit too much? It's a common fear. Many women over 60 feel nervous about going this short, afraid it might feel severe or too statementy. But let me flip that thought for you. This bob isn't about chopping away your softness. It's about revealing your spark. The clean, structured length, just grazing the jawline, gives the face an instant lift. It opens up the cheeks, brightens the eyes, and suddenly, your entire face feels more present. Add in some subtle, face-framing highlights. Not chunky, not loud, and that's where the transformation happens. I once had a client named June who hadn't changed her cut in nearly a decade. We went for this style with a few warm caramels framing her temples. When she looked in the mirror, she said, "I look like I sleep better." And honestly, she kind of did. This cut is especially magical for fine or thinning hair. Because of its short length and gentle lift at the crown, it creates volume exactly where most women need it. The highlights, they do more than add color. They add dimension, making your hair appear fuller, thicker, and more dynamic. You don't have to go blonde, either. Warm chocolates, honey silvers, even soft rose golds can bring that same radiance. And let's not forget styling. It's low-maintenance beauty at its best. A round brush, a little lift at the roots, maybe some light styling cream, and done. On busy days, it still holds its shape. On lazy ones, it still looks put together. And if you wear glasses, this bob works with your frames, not against them. It creates clean lines around the face, letting your features breathe without feeling crowded. But most importantly, it's the way this haircut makes you feel. There's something quietly empowering about seeing that shimmer of highlight, that clean edge, and thinking, that's me, polished, confident, present. Still a bit nervous about going that short? Don't worry. Up next, we're heading into a style that keeps the length, but adds strength. And it might just surprise you. And now, let's talk about the blunt bob, a style that looks simple at first glance, but don't let that fool you. This cut carries a quiet power. It's for the woman who doesn't want frills, who doesn't need layers to feel interesting, who walks into a room and doesn't have to say much, but you notice her anyway. The blunt bob is evenly cut, usually at the chin or just above the collarbone, depending on what flatters your face best. No dramatic stacking, no angles. Just one clean, confident line that sharpens everything around it. Your jaw, your neckline, even your posture. And if your hair has started to thin a little, like it naturally does over time, this shape can bring it all back to life. Because here's the twist. When the ends are all one length, they reflect light more evenly. They appear fuller, denser, and healthier, even if your hair is fine or fragile. You're not adding volume with mousse or rollers. You're adding it with precision. But this isn't the stiff, curled under bob from the 80s. That's not what we're doing here. You want movement, that soft sway when you tilt your head, that effortless bend that looks like you didn't try, even if you kind of did. Just a gentle wave from root to mid-shaft is all you need. Whatever you do, don't curl the ends under. That's the fast track to looking dated. Let them move naturally. Let them breathe. I'd had women who wore layers for years come in feeling stuck, like their hair had no shape anymore. When we blunt cut everything clean, they looked in the mirror and said, "This feels like a fresh start." Because sometimes that's exactly what it is. And styling? Minimal. A bit of blow dry, a spritz of texture spray if you want. This cut looks elegant in 5 minutes flat. It also pairs beautifully with everything, from soft cardigans to bold jewelry to bare-faced mornings. But what I love most is the emotional clarity this bob brings. It doesn't beg for compliments. It doesn't try to impress. It just says, I know who I am, and I like her. Still unsure if a blunt cut is right for your face shape? You're not alone, and I've got a simple way to try it out without ever touching scissors. Stay with me. Here's the thing no one tells you about haircuts after 60. They're not about reinvention. They're about reconnection with the woman you still are, with the spark that never left. with the beauty that didn't disappear. It just shifted. The soft angled bob, the ear-length shape with shimmer, the bold blunt line, each of these isn't just a haircut. They're little acts of self-trust, of expression, of choosing yourself again. And maybe you're not ready to book an appointment tomorrow. That's okay. Sometimes the shift starts with a question, or a ping on your vision board, or even just pulling your hair back to imagine, what would that shape feel like on me? If you're unsure, here's what I tell my clients. Start playing. Pin your hair up. Try on different partings. Look at old photos. See what frames your face best. Even small experiments send a message to your reflection. I still care. I still show up. I still glow. And you do. You absolutely do. If any of these cuts sparked something for you, or if you've already tried one of them, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me, what haircut made you feel most like yourself again? Because you never know who might read your story and think, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. And if you're still exploring, stay close. In the next video, I'll show you one hidden bob variation that most women overlook, yet stylists swear by when they want to create lift without losing softness. Until then, remember this. You don't need to chase younger. You just need to reflect your truth with a little polish, a little light, and a lot of heart. And if no one's told you lately, you look beautiful. And more importantly, you look like you. See you next time.